When I first wanted to pursue photography, I've always had like an interest in the visual aspect of like everything around me. From a young age at school, like academically, I wasn't that bright, so all the things that I was good at was a lot of visual things and hands-on things. Photography I couldn't afford to do once I was at school because it was quite an expensive course to do. What I ended up doing is just doing art, and that was my way of doing something that I was really good at. Everything else I sucked at, basically. That was the one kind of subject that I could actually do, and I was getting praised for the work I was doing. After school, I went to college and done graphics design. Through that's when I really started to realise that I could actually do photography, because I had a lot of the materials, the equipment and the facilities where it didn't cost me an arm and a leg to do it. So from there I picked up a bit, and yeah, I basically realised that this is better than drawing. And it gives me the opportunity to be completely accurate with what I'm seeing through a frame, and it's like, yeah, I want to try and pursue this a bit more. Yes, I do feel like my education supported me, mainly because, funny enough, it actually happened the wrong way around. Because I didn't have the education like that everybody else had, I struggled with schooling and stuff, and I didn't want to learn at school because I couldn't do them, and there wasn't, I feel, enough support in doing the more visual things or the more artistic things. Then I just totally rejected them, and I didn't want to do it at all. So by doing that, I ended up later on in life looking back and being like, yeah, I actually have an interest in, say, science now, where before as a kid I just like, what am I going to use it for? Where now I've started to research a lot more things that I see in everyday news, like the environmental things like that. So yeah, I think my education, my schooling education did work, because as much as I didn't come away with loads of GCSEs and loads of A-levels or anything like that, I have grown up to want to learn, which is education. So yeah. So inspiration for me is everywhere around me. Like, I know it sounds a bit like a cop-out of an answer, but it is everything. For example, where we are right now, like what I find interesting is visual stuff. I can sit there daydreaming for ages looking at something, and people wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. It doesn't make any sense to them, but to me it just feels good. What I lose interest in is text. What I find interesting is visual stuff. Maybe just to look at light hitting a tree in a certain way, or a shadow just there in a position. To me, it's really good. It's nature, and it's not doing anything other than just being itself, and to me that looks amazing. To somebody else that might be like, what the hell? Dyslexia gives me the kind of opportunity to be as creative as possible, because I can't do the other side. Like, it forces me to just do the creative side, and that's the way I've kind of pushed my life anyway. I knew I couldn't do the other stuff, so I'm not going to waste my time doing stuff which I find really painful and not enjoyable, when I can do stuff which involves visual, creative way of life. Then I'm going to focus all my energies into things like that. So dyslexia basically kind of helps in the sense that a lot of people that are dyslexic are really good problem solvers, and by having dyslexia you kind of you have to problem solve all the time, because the way the world is that you live in, there is a problem there that you can't handle, and you have to actually deal with it in another way. So your way of dealing with it, or finding a way around it, is maybe through a creative way of thinking or a creative way of life. So to other people, some things might seem really complicated. To you, they seem pretty simple because you look at the bigger picture. Projects I've got for the future, well, I'm going away traveling. So I'm going to go to Central America, and I'm going to just go with it. I've not got a plan. I'm just chucking myself in the deep end. Going to see what happens. Like, who knows who I meet there and what stories I find. There isn't a project title as such, it's more just go and see. Whatever happens, happens. Like, and what I can record from it is going to be the project. So yeah, it's just going to be looking at another person's life or other people's lives around the world, living their day-to-day lives compared to what I live. It's going to be totally different, so it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be like. I've totally forgotten what I was talking about. I've gone so far off track, I've totally forgotten what I was talking about. Dyslexia definitely comes into that. I mean, I've totally forgotten what I was talking about in the first place, and then I've gone so far away from it that it's gone off piece.